Welcome back to the Financial Logistician. I am your host, All-Nighter Hider. And tonight I'm going to attempt to read. I'm going to attempt to show this to you in a bad mirror image. Let's see if I can get my face in there. Common Law Handbook for Jurors, Sheriffs, Bailiffs, and Justices. Sorry about the mirror image. I looked and I looked and I looked, and I couldn't find a way to change that setting. We the people. This is a very short book, but yeah, very, very good. Let's see. NationalLibertyAlliance.org. That's actually not where I got this. I got this on Amazon. They're $5 each. There's 3 of them. I'm going to read you a little bit from some of these pages. In bold it says, How the Constitution was Usurped by the Corporation. Look at the camera, Hider. The corporate United States, not United States of America, United States, there is a difference. The corporate United States is not obligated nor accountable to the people except to make a profit for its stockholders as a corporation. The corporate interest does not benefit the people, but uses the people and their labor to make a profit for the corporation. This corporation works in concert with the corporate courts and banks to usurp the people's wealth. The transfer of the constitutional authority of the money over to a private foreign bank, the non-federal Federal Reserve, has devastated our lives. This crime of taking the money authority away from the people must be corrected, and authority, because who's the author, right? Authority, root word author. And authority restored to a constitutional form of government so our country can become prosperous once again. I mostly agree with this. This is not exactly my view, but I mostly agree with it. This is a consideration, just something to consider. I don't provide any answers. God help you if you get answers from me. From a speech in Congress in Congressional Record of March 17th, 1993, Volume 33, page H, 1303, H-1303, regarding the bankruptcy of the United States. Again, that's the federal corporation, not the geographic nation. By Speaker Representative James Traficant Jr., Ohio, addressing the House. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act, March 9th, 1933. Look that one up. 48 Statute 1, Public Law 89-719. It's beyond me, actually. I haven't looked that up yet. Declared by President Roosevelt being bankrupt and insolvent. Again, I'll read that real quick over again. March 9th, 1933, 48 Stat, S-T-A-T, dot 1, comma, Public Law 89-719. Declared by President Roosevelt being bankrupt and insolvent. HJR, that's House Joint Resolution, I believe, 192, 73rd Congress in session, June 5th, 1933. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate. That means to dissolve as though it had never even happened. To abrogate something. What could be abrogated? A contract can be abrogated. You burn up a contract, paper contract, and it's gone. There's no evidence that it had ever even existed. Lost my place. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause dissolved the American authority of the United States and the official capacities of the United States governmental offices, officers, and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. Legally speaking, this is how it goes, right? This is legally speaking. This is not status quo. This is not de facto. This is de jure. How it is, not how it is operated. The receivers of the United States bankruptcy are the international bankers, like the IMF, via the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, like I just said. All United States officers, officials, and departments are now operating within a de facto status in name only under emergency war powers. To my knowledge, this has never been undone, but what's my knowledge? I don't have much. With the constitutional republican form of government now dissolved, the receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted a new form of government for the United States of America. It doesn't say that. It just says United States. This new form of government is known as a... democracy. I hate that word. I hate that word. It's disgusting. I hate it. It sounds like shit, too. Democracy. It just sounds like shit. It's a filthy, disgusting word. Okay. Known as a... being an established socialist communist order under a new governor for America. This act was instituted and established by transferring and or placing the office of the Secretary of Treasury to that of the Governor of the International Monetary Fund. Public Law 94-564, page 8, section HR. 13955 reads in part, the U.S. Secretary of Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States. And I believe that's the end of his... maybe not. Okay, so continuing on, next paragraph. Prior to 1913, most Americans owned clear allodial title to property. That means clear and free title. Allodial title means you own it. There are zero claims on that title. Nobody else has any claims that they can make on that title. None. Prior to 1913, most Americans owned clear allodial title to property, free and clear of any liens, mortgages, until the Federal Reserve Act 1913 hypothecated all properties within the federal United States to the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, in which the trustees, the stockholders, held legal title. So when you register something to the state, they hold legal title, not you. Think of that. This is all legally based. Most people don't have the slightest clue of how the legal system works. And so they sign over through registration the ownership of their automobile or their house or whatever you're registering, your firearm. God, just don't register anything to the state. It's fucking absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Calm down. I'm bringing it back in. The U.S. citizen, tenant franchise. Don't be a citizen. Oh my goodness. Be a sovereign. A sovereign has nothing above them except for God. If God made you, then you can be, you're liable to God. But we made the government. The government is liable to us. That's the way it goes. That's just the bottom line. The U.S. citizen, and then in brackets, tenant franchisee. Okay, I get it. So that's how they're, yeah. That's, okay, yeah. So the U.S. citizen / tenant franchisee was registered as a beneficiary of the trust via his or her birth certificate. Yes, that brings me to another point. So the United States is ran like a trust. We are the grantors. We are the ones that funded the trust. We set up the trust. We wrote the trust. The trust is ours. We made the trust. The trust owns everything, but we are also the beneficiaries. The trustees are the ones that run the trust. Those are the government officials. They run the trust for the beneficiaries, who are us. Most trusts, you can't be a beneficiary and the grantor. It doesn't really work that way. But with us, it does. With this kind of way, this trust, the way it's set up, it does. So you are the grantor. They are the trustees who are beholden to the trust, which is the Constitution, and we are the beneficiaries of that trust. In 1933, the federal United States hypothecated all of the present and future properties, assets, and labor of their subjects, the 14th Amendment, U.S. citizen, to the Federal Reserve System. I'll read that again because it's very, very important. In 1913, the federal United States hypothecated, gave, all of the present and future properties, assets, and labor of their subjects, peons, plebs, the 14th Amendment, U.S. citizen. Look up the 14th Amendment. It'll disgust you if you know what you're reading. To the Federal Reserve System. In return, the Federal Reserve System agreed to extend the Federal United States Corporation all of the credit money substitute it needed. Like any debtor, the Federal United States government has to assign collateral and security to their creditors as a condition of the loan. Since the Federal United States didn't have any assets, they assigned the private property of the economic slaves, the U.S. citizen, as collateral against the federal debt. So, no, I'm not done. I'll keep going. They also pledged the unincorporated federal territories, national parks, forests, birth certificates, and nonprofit organizations as collateral against the federal debt. All has already been transferred as payment to the international bankers. Unwittingly, America has returned to its pre-American revolutionary feudal roots, whereby all land is held by a sovereign, and the common people have no rights to hold a allodial title to property. We do have rights, but it's very specific. The line that we have to walk is very, very thin. Very thin. And most people don't know it. It's status quo is all around us. We the people are tenants and sharecroppers renting our own property from a sovereign in the guise of the Federal Reserve Bank. We the people have exchanged one master for another. That was that. That's all I have highlighted. Yeah, so all of our shit is not ours because we are corporations. So if you look at the definition of person, it is ITEP ACC, individual, trust, estate, partnership, association, corporation, or company or corporation. Individual is redundant. That's just an individual person. So you can exclude individual actually from the definition of person. It's just a redundant little singular thing. It's stupid. So estate, trust, association, partnership, company, corporation. When we go into the courts or we not even go into the courts, if we don't dispute, or I'm sorry, if we don't hold, because we don't dispute, disputing is bad. If we don't hold accountable the statement that the state says about their claims, a person must this or that, or must not this or that, well, we can disregard that if we're not a legally defined person. But if we do fall trap to that slang, that, oh yeah, I'm a person, it's really bad, number one. But then you're falling into that feudal system of, yes, I'm a person, I'm a statutory entity, because all those things listed are statutory entities. What's a statutory entity? That is something that is made of the state. If the state makes something, that's state-born, right? A corporation is allowed by the state. An estate is allowed by the state. They grant these things, right? So if they grant them, then they control them. we granted the state its power. So we control the state. This is the way that it de jure goes. It de facto is ran the other way, where the state controls us. Because many, the vast majority of people have said, I'm a person, look at me, I'm a person. Therefore saying, I'm a piece of the corporation, I don't own anything, everything I have is yours. Here you go, here's my socialistic contribution. That's the word I was looking for. All right, 16 minutes. I hope you got that. I don't know, go listen to it over again. I kind of stumbled through it, but listen to it over again if you need to. Get these books. These things are amazing. Get them, read them. They are amazing, but that's the way that it works. We've all been duped. I shouldn't say we all, but most of us have been duped. Legally duped. And if you don't know the legal system, you're probably getting duped. So, again, thanks for watching. This is All-Nighter Hider, the financial logistician with the kitty crawling up to say hi. You want to come up and say hi? I know you do. No, she's going to crawl back down. Okay, never mind. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.